The human touch is what clients will remember most in the claims process. It defines your brand. In this session, Vanna Meijden and Simplify dispel the myth that technology lessens customer experiences and explain how AI-powered automation empowers claim handlers to become more human by removing mindless work such as data entry, creating insights for claim handlers, and generating velocity via process automation.
Well, good morning. Thank you for joining our deep dive session today. My name is Ayla Wals and I work with Vanna Meijden. And this week we're here in collaboration with Simplify, both at the session today and at our booth just outside. So currently in our industry, there's a huge focus on the capabilities of AI and automation. Yet there's a concern that when this is applied to the claims process, maybe it becomes more about bots than about people. Generally, we deal with people in distress, and the human touch that they feel in the moment of truth can truly shape and define their customer experience. So today we're going to answer the question, can AI make humans more human in the claims process? So, together with our partner Simplify, we'll look at the ways in which automation and AI can actually improve the customer experience rather than replacing the human touch. So, after all, the experience your customer has when they come to you with a claim actually defines your brand. Today, our expert panel will dispel a few industry myths about technology in the process. So, we'll discover if tech can actually make humans more human, more effective, more empathetic, and less stressed. Then we'll conclude with a glimpse into the future and talk a little bit about Insurance GPT. So without further ado, let's introduce our expert panel. Today we have with us Eric Lung, who is co-founder and chief product officer of Simplify. Simplify is a 6-year-old scale-up based in Oslo, which now has over 150 employees in Norway, Sweden, India, Ukraine, and the Netherlands. We also have Rogier Halvers with us today. Rogier is managing director of Vanna Meijden Systems. He's mostly responsible for IT, in which we deal with over 800,000 claims annually in our own self-developed claims handling system, Echo, which has over 1,200 users in 26 countries. And last but not least, we have Frank Verschuur, managing director of Vanna Meijden in the Southwest region, which is mainly France, Italy, Spain, and Portugal. So, to ease us into our discussion today, Rogier, for those of us who may not know, could you tell us a little bit about what Vanna Meijden does?
Yes, happy to do so. Hello, Barcelona. Nice to see so many people attending our session. So Vanna Meijden is a very interesting company. It is a global service provider to the insurance industry with a very strong focus on claim handling and loss adjusting globally. And it was founded by Henry Vanna Meijden, who started just after the Second World War to focus on motor claims for the Dutch defense, but also one of the founding members of the Green Card. So kind of starting to develop the business in Europe based on the back of that. But some parts of the organization are even older, so 150 years old. Doesn't quite make it to the 330 years of the Lloyds, as we just heard in the keynote. But a very diverse company, and what kind of unites us all is that we help insurance companies deliver on their claim promise. So really the moment that matters for the people that took out insurance, whether it's fire, whether it's flood that we had in Europe last year and in the west of Germany, but also the evergreen container that was stuck in the Suez Canal. Our guys are there to help resolve those situations. So it's very diverse, but it's all coming together in trying to help people in distress. So when you talk about the 800,000 claims, Ayla, it's there's a person behind each of those claims, and our colleagues are very focused on trying to make the right decision and to help them get through the process. And it's a very interesting, challenging mix of wanting to use your expertise, wanting to help people, but also having to deal with a lot of admin. There's a lot of paperwork that goes into it. And So as we expand, we also found out that we need technology to square those two things. You want to be compliant, you want to be fast, but you also want to be fair and make the right decisions. So that's always been the kind of the challenge in managing that for a very diverse portfolio of clients across Europe and globally actually.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Thank you, Rogier. Yeah, and if I remember correctly, you handle around 2 million emails and 5 million documents annually, so that's a very impressive amount.
Yeah.
And maybe you could put your mic just a little bit more up so we can hear you
sure.
better.
Is this better?
I think so, right? Yeah? Okay, good.
All right, thanks.
Good. Now, as the topic today revolves around the innovation journey that Van der Meijden has taken within AI over the past year, could you please talk a little bit about the 3 whys? So, why have we decided to make this change? Why is now the time for that to happen? And why is this occurring in collaboration with Simplify?
Sure, yeah, happy to take you through that. So when we expanded, we mainly did it through acquisitions, building teams, bringing in more people. And at some point, you realize that you can't really scale fast enough and you can't find the people that you're looking for. And I think we're all experiencing that right now as well. There's a huge shortage of talent to get the business done that you want to get done. So that was also one of the reasons we looked for a good claim handling platform around 12 years ago. It wasn't really available, so we decided to start building it ourselves. So we selected OutSystems, and we built a very strong team that I'm really proud of, that really, in collaboration with the business, really built a system that help our people in the trenches every single day. So it's really a very comprehensive suite, but it wasn't designed up front with an InsurTech idea. No, it was really founded in our operations, in dealing with all the different client portfolios that we deal with and getting the feedback from the end user. So we've been developing that platform over the years, putting in a lot of workflow, using some robotics and just gradually building it out. And at some point you also realize that the developments are going so fast that it's very hard to keep up in, let's say, a traditional IT sense, like thinking, designing, building, testing, and then deploying it again. So this is really where we also started focusing more on AI, because it kind of jump starts the whole process. It's kind of a silver bullet in a way that you don't have to understand all the patterns up front, but you kind of train the machine to kind of detect patterns and make it better all the time. So for us, this is really a game changer. It used to be a bit experimental, but we've now really gone live and are using it every single day in the Netherlands, in Germany, in Norway, and then also in the Southwest region, which Frank will tell more about. Yeah. So it's really ingrained now in our business, and we can't really do without anymore. So it's really helping us to deal with the large volumes, and it's business as usual actually. So it's moved from experimental to business as usual, and really in a very important part of the platform. So as part of that journey to find the best technologies, because in my role it's really about finding technologies that work and bringing it to the business. And so we came across Simplify, and we really felt that the DNA really matches. So they're very dedicated to making, getting the results that we were looking for, but also not afraid to experiment. And so we were really on this journey together to figure this thing out and to really integrate it into the Echo platform, our claim handling platform, and really jointly train it and solve the language problem, which was also quite an interesting one. Like we deal with so many different languages in different countries, and the machine engine needs to understand those differences as well. So it was really an interesting journey so far, and really looking forward to the next phase as well.
No, good. That's good to hear, and I'm glad to hear that Simplify and Van der Meijden have such a symbiotic relationship. Yeah. We both benefit each other, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
that's the whole point of today, that tech and humans are working together, right?
Absolutely.
So thank you, Rogier. Eric, after hearing Rogier's response, I wonder how you've seen this AI journey evolve. So could you tell us a bit about your experiences with this?
Absolutely. First, I'd like to say thank you, Rogier, for the kind words, and definitely the journey together with Van der Meijden Group so far has been magnificent. So allow me to turn the clock back a few years when me and Bård Myrstad, we co-founded Simplify 6 years ago. From my experience of the last 15 years working in a bank and insurance industries, I've noticed that a lot of time were spent on very boring and repetitive tasks. And having the background in tech and AI, I have the ambition of take AI as a technology to streamline the work processes, to reduce the necessarily boring, repetitive tasks being spent on doing by the employees so that they can really focus on what's really important. Now, Rohir mentioned about there is a human behind every single claim of the 800,000 claims every year. But does it really has to be that there is somebody behind the 2 million emails and the 5 million documents? Not necessarily so. So then what we have done is to take that technology to combine with the work processes to make sure that the people will have the time to focus on what's the most important aspect of the claim settlement. And the journey so far has been great in the sense that we have taken the technology and it is working. And for the last 4 years, our solution has been answering millions of emails, millions of documents every single year. And the process with Van der Meijde has shows that the matter of speed that we're able to roll it out, because on the base we have the language layer which is trained on understanding a given language. Then we have the industry-specific knowledge, and then on top of that we have the small adjustment that is needed to cater for each organization. So within the 2 years' time, we have been rolling out to 7 different languages within the Van der Meijde group among many customers. So right now, whenever an incoming claim correspondence has come in, for our customers, it is always Simplify's AI solution that has the first view of the incoming, done the necessary work to register, to answer, and then makes the recommendation of the actions that needs to be done by the claim processor so that they will be able to be the most efficient in handling their claims. And because of that trust, we have actually now, together with Van der Meijde and a few other customers, together to work on the next step, which is Insurance GPT, and then I'll get back to that in a bit.
Yeah, no.
Very interesting.
Yeah, definitely very interesting. Thank you, Eric. We will. Now that was a bit of a teaser, right? But we will get back to Insurance GPT towards the end of our discussion. But Frank, the southwest region of Van der Meijde, including France, Spain, and Portugal, is now live since about 4 weeks ago, I believe. Yeah. Could you tell us a bit more in a concrete fashion how you see these changes in your office and, yeah, well, what the experiences have been at the business level?
Yes. Well, while they were talking about what's happening behind on the technical side, for my team, it is especially on the business side. So what's happening day-to-day work. Yeah. You see also what Eric says, you see a lot of dull work being done, and you see that people don't like to do it that way all their life, and you see on the other side that we have scarcity of people. So when we started this journey together, the expectation was that these emails will be gone. And I have to say, and also to my positive surprise, in the very first day, all the emails were gone. So they were all processed correctly by what we prepared up front. That took some months, of course. It's the training and the learning of the machine is really a road to do. Yeah. But once we went live, we really went live. So in the very first day, all the emails that came in, plus the documents attached to it, they were separated, and the machine allocates the email and the documents to the right claim for us. Plus it renames the document to what it is. So when it comes in French and it needs to be translated in Spanish, it renames the document to whatever, surveyor report when it says peritaje in Spanish. So that was of course also a very big surprise for our team, because everybody is a bit hesitant about what's really going to happen. And you see some people work during the day on this preparation of this new topic. So it was very good to see that when we went live, it worked, and it really went also to the expectations of the people. So it directly also had an impact on what they're going to do.
Yeah.
because before they were allocating these documents and stuff. So we did not lower our amount of people. I don't think that's the right step forward either.
I think that's everybody's question.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you lose roles, but you lose roles of people that they had before, but you don't lose jobs really,
Yeah.
because it's like the Industrial Revolution where you went to machines and everybody thought, oh, I lose my job, but you don't. New jobs or different jobs are created, and we had anyway already scarcity in the claims handling. So we moved people, we upscaled them, and we moved them to other departments.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's fine. Honestly, it might have an impact later on summer workforce. We have a big summer workforce that comes in May, and they stay until October. But
Temporary positions.
temporary, yeah. We use them for 6 months, but it's also people that really come for a summer job. So it's not that next year they will lose a job. They're just there in between school, and afterwards they come back to university. So, that is for me one of the things that is ethically very important also to discuss. When you start this journey, you have to be very transparent with everybody in your teams. Nobody should be scared. Everybody should understand where are we going with this. And it is not like, oh, I put the machine to do the work and you can go home. That's absolutely not. Because already during this road, I always try to explain, you're not buying a new cell phone that you turn on and it works. You really go from making a cell phone from the first step until you get it in the box and now we start working with it. And in that process, you see already that some people will change their role in the company. So that's, I'm really looking forward to see the next steps. We have a lot of ideas together to continue this journey. So
Definitely.
let's see.
No, as you stated, it's good to keep in mind that they're only being promoted in a sense to more important tasks.
Yeah, more interesting.
More interesting. And their job. We're not making the people themselves redundant. Of course, they have.
And also there is the symbiosis between what we do as humans, and in the end, we train the machine. The machine is.
Yeah.
It's like it's a computer that takes over, and you don't need a typewriter anymore. So now you use a computer. Here it's a similar thing. There is somebody behind the buttons that is training, we call it a digital employee, which is nicer than a machine. So there is a training of an employee that you normally have next to you, and you work together. You have your peer who shows you what to do and how the steps are. Now you have a machine that you teach what he or she, or the machine in general, should do and what are the steps to take. The benefit here is that the machine, if you train the machine well, it will not make a mistake. And if you do not train it well, the mistake is yours. So it's the human mistake, it's the human error to train the machine well or appropriate. And it requires somebody full-time dedicated to that part. So it's not something like, oh yeah, it's done and now I do something else. You have to be constantly on it.
Of course.
New clients come in, there will be new types of documents, require new wordings in text that the machine will not recognize in the beginning, so you will have to adapt that as well. So it will be constant, but yeah, it's a different way of handling than we did in like last year.
No, of course. And of course, everybody can be afraid of change, and we all know that it's difficult, but this is real change management. And as our CEO of Van der Meijden, Piet, has stated, AI makes humans more human. So with your recent experiences in mind, how do you think people and tech are collaborating in this claims process?
Well, I do think we can be more human because we can take out the dull part, and we can dedicate more time to what we really have to do in the claims handling, and that is giving attention to our client.
Yeah.
And normally it was quickly sending an email and forget about it, I did my activity and let's wait. And now you really have way more time because we're talking about hundreds of thousands of emails during the year, and they're gone. So these people really have time now to dedicate to their client, and instead of being busy with allocating mails.
Frees up your time for more important tasks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Now, I hope you like our images. I think they go well with what we're saying, but I really like there we see it here, the use of the symbiotic relationship in this case, which you can see with the bee and the flower. But it's really important to remember that humans and tech are empowering each other, right? Not Yeah, it's a mutually beneficial relationship. But good. Now it's time to move on to the topic that we promised to visit towards the end, Insurance GPT. Eric, this was your latest innovation in May. Could you please share your ideas behind this and maybe tell us about a few characteristics and how this platform differs from the other AI platforms?
Yeah, definitely. So I'd like to use the chance to just make something really clear. It's our Insurance GPT is not, and definitely not based on ChatGPT. So yes, ChatGPT was really the agent that kind of drives this hype and the madness around generative AI and what computer AI is really able to do. But what we have, through our research, we have concluded that ChatGPT as a technology, though it is very, very good and very versatile and can do a lot, it has some compliance issues that we would need to step away from. One of the things is that when we picked insurance and bank as an industry to tackle with AI, it is also worth noting that insurance and bank are industries that has very rigorous requirements with regards to compliance and privacy. And for that, we had to spend quite a lot of time and effort to make sure we got everything correctly. And with that, we also have the ISO 27001 certification. The good thing is that once we have done all that, we have built ourselves a decent competitive advantage over other competitors that are working with similar tech. So back to how that actually plays into the Insurance GPT is that GPT as a technology is very useful, and we see great potential of what it is able to do. I mean, imagine when a claim handler receives a case in front of them, the first thing that person needs to do is probably to identify, oh, is there enough information for me to make an assessment on the case? If not, I need to do something about it. If it is, then I will need to look at historical similar cases, how the court rulings have been, and then I'll make the assessment of whether this claim should be approved or rejected, or in some cases, how much of a responsibility is placed on the claimer. Now, all of these are based on the understanding of a knowledge base that we can get our hands on and train a model to simulate. With that, we will be able to have a much more consistent way of evaluating a claim versus in some of the insurance companies now, same claim processor waking up a different day would have a different conclusion or difference between the teams. We can eliminate all of that by having some consistent suggestions of what the claimer should do. Now, of course, one of the things that GPT was very known for is that it is able to write very good communications. And all of these things that takes time of drumming up the justification of an assessment. All of these Insurance GPT would be able to help. Now, we have sorted out the technology. We have sorted out the compliance clarifications. But what we would also like to do is to ensure that whatever we build is actually what the market wants. So together with Van der Meijde Group and a few other customers within Europe, we have gotten together and formed a customer reference board where we get together with the understanding of the tech and the compliance requirements that we are able to look into the use cases in a much more in-depth in order to make sure that whatever we build, not only does it work and work well. I mean, our bots are actually handling somewhere between 85 and 90% of the stuff automatically, but also that it is able to collaborate with a given claim handler. This is the whole how to make human more human, and that is that the collaboration between the human and the system, it needs to be there. So we have together to build this thing, and with the knowledge, we're sure that whatever that comes out of it when it's ready, we will be able to have something that is off the shelf, very quickly deployed, and most importantly, compliant.
Yeah, thank you, Eric.
Yeah?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I've seen what you just said, I've seen it, and I think where we started together is on the front end of the claim cycle, and Simplify already moved further up in the process, and I've seen how Simplify moves in, let's say, the material claims part. And it is choice, of course, how you want to do the steps in the process, but it can be completely automated, and it exists. So it's an implementation phase, and then really you can step up. I really liked it what you showed me. really interesting for the next step, let's say, for the future. Exciting times ahead. Yeah, definitely.
Exciting times ahead indeed, yeah. And what you're referring to is we have a nice video on Insurance GPT back at our stand if you'd like to watch along. I've seen it, it's very enlightening. Would you like to share a practical example with us, Eric?
So if we combine everything that has been said today, when you first receive a first notice of loss, it would be registered and read, understood, and registered by a digital employee that already is working for Van der Meijde and many other customers as of today. It would be extracting the information from the emails and the documents and will fill in the necessary information in the claim processing system via the integration that we have configured. And now, if we take a step forward, such a registration of the claim would end up in a claim processor. Usually it's a lawyer or a jurist who will be looking at it. Now, imagine the person has, on top of the information on the screen, also has the recommendation with justification from the Insurance GPT saying, we believe you're missing this information before you can proceed, or we believe you should approve this claim on the basis of A, B, and C, or we believe you should reject it because of da-da-da-da-da. And if you are actually have further questions or information that you would like to add, you are able to interact with Insurance GPT, kind of like you would have with ChatGPT, and get more elaborative information from there. I admit, Insurance GPT will not be able to tell you what the most exciting movie will be in 2023 like ChatGPT would, but it will be much more precise when telling you that you should reject a claim on the basis of these historical cases or the court rulings that has been. And when you have all of that, then each claim handler can be focusing on the elaboration connections with the claim filer, who is usually in the state of distress because something happened to them and they would need to go through the lengthy documentation process with the insurance company. But if there is employees who have freed up the time to comfort them, to be more caring for them, instead of feeling like they are being rushed, I believe that interaction, that customer's satisfaction will be dramatically improved.
Yeah, definitely has a huge impact on that, yeah. Please.
Maybe just to add one more statement, just so we're clear on this. I think the problem with ChatGPT is, of course, it's based on a lot of data out there. What we're talking about here is really curated data. So we're really looking at the big data lake, basically, that we sit on as Van der Meijde, having done this work for so long. Anonymizing that data and just really making sure that the data that they base the decisions on or recommendations is really good quality data that's relevant for the cases. And as you build that up, it's going to be better and better over time as we also train it. So I think this is really the right approach here, and it's fundamentally different from ChatGPT, which is of course completely open and comes with its challenges as well. So we don't really know the future. It's exciting, and I think as long as we focus on the outcomes that we want and the space that we allow AI to have to really indeed strengthen the expertise of our people and make their job more fulfilling, I think we're on the right track. But it changes everything, I think.
The only way to know the future is to shape it.
Yeah.
You shape your own future, then you know it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a good note to end on. I think we're out of time, but thank you all for joining our session today. Thank you to our experts as well. Please come by our stand.
With the pinball machine.
Yeah.
Pinball machine.
If not to ask a question about our session or something else, we do have a pinball machine. So
old-fashioned one.
If you want to take a break from, So that'll be fun. Come by, talk to us, watch a video, play a game, and it's been a pleasure.
Enjoy the conference.
Thank you.
Look forward to
very
speaking
much.
to you.
Thank you all.
Thanks so much for your attention.
Bye.